Welcome back, everyone, to Speak English Fluently. I'm Adam, and I'm really excited to have you here today. Before we jump in, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to the channel for more real English conversations.
And I'm Anna. Hi, Adam. Hi, everyone listening from around the world. Today, we've prepared something super useful: how to talk about your job in English. It's one of the most common topics in daily conversation.
Exactly, Anna. People ask about jobs all the time, at work, in interviews, or when meeting someone new. So in today's episode, we'll show you natural phrases, real examples, and practical expressions you can use right away.
So make sure you stay with us till the end, because we'll also share a few mistakes learners often make when talking about their job and how to fix them.
All right, Anna, let's get started. So, Anna, let's start with something simple. When someone asks you, "What do you do?" how do you usually answer?
Well, Adam, I usually say something like, I'm an English teacher, or I work as an English teacher. It's short, clear, and natural. What about you?
Yeah, same here. I normally say, "I'm a content creator," because people understand it immediately. But sometimes I add more details, like, "I create educational videos for English learners." It helps the other person know exactly what I do.
That's a good point, Adam. Adding a small detail makes the conversation flow better. For example, I might say, I teach adults who want to improve their speaking skills. It creates a connection and invites more questions.
Exactly. And actually, when people talk about their job, they often forget to describe their daily tasks. That's what makes the conversation interesting. Like, instead of saying, "I'm a designer," you can say, "I'm a designer and I help companies create visual content for social media."
Yes, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Even something simple works. For example, I work in a hospital. I help patients and assist doctors. Or, I work in a shop. I help customers find what they need.
Right. And here's something important, Anna. Many learners say, "I am working as," when talking about their permanent job. But the natural way is just, "I work as," or "I'm a." Saying "I am working" usually means it's temporary.
Exactly, Adam. I hear that mistake a lot. And another useful phrase is, I'm responsible for. For example, I'm responsible for training new employees. Or, I'm responsible for managing the social media accounts.
That's a great one. It makes you sound more professional. And learners can also use "my job involves," like "my job involves meeting clients and planning projects."
Yes, and here's a realistic example. I'm an accountant, and my job involves checking financial records and preparing monthly reports. Very natural, right?
Supernatural. And by the way, Anna, I think learners should practice answering with confidence. Even if their job is simple, they can still describe it in a strong, clear way.
Absolutely, Adam. Every job is important. What matters is expressing it clearly in English.
Anna, another thing people often ask about is the work environment. You know, not just the job itself, but what it feels like to work there.
True, Adam. For example, I might say, I work in a calm environment, or my workplace is really fast paced. These phrases help paint a picture of your job.
Exactly. I sometimes say, "I work from home most of the time," or "I work in a small studio with my team." It helps people imagine your daily routine.
And learners can also describe their colleagues. Something like, I work with a team of 5 people, or I work closely with designers and editors. It shows how your job connects with others.
That's a great point. And speaking of daily routine, we should talk about work schedules too. A lot of learners don't know how to express that. For example, they can say, I work full-time. I work part-time. I work night shifts. Or I have flexible hours.
Yes, and they can even be more specific. Like, I usually start work at 8 a.m. I finish around 4. Or I work long hours on weekends. Simple phrases, but very natural.
Right. And Anna, one phrase learners love is, my job can be stressful at times, but I enjoy it. It's honest and realistic.
Yes, Adam. Not every job is perfect. So being honest adds life to the conversation. For example, my job is challenging, but it's also rewarding. Or it can be tiring, especially during busy seasons.
Exactly. That makes the conversation sound real. Another useful structure is, one thing I like about my job is, and one thing I don't like is.
Let's give examples. One thing I like about my job is helping students achieve their goals. One thing I don't like is the paperwork. Everyone can relate to that.
Yes. And for me, I might say, one thing I like about my job is the creativity. One thing I don't like is deadlines. Deadlines are everywhere, right, Anna?
Oh, yes, Adam. Deadlines never end. And finally, learners can talk about job satisfaction. Something like, I enjoy my job because it allows me to grow. Or, I feel proud of the work I do.
Perfect. These phrases help learners discuss their job confidently, naturally, and with more detail. Anna, I think another important part of talking about your job is sharing your future plans. People often ask, what are your career goals? Or where do you see yourself in a few years?
Absolutely, Adam. And it's a great way to keep a conversation going. For example, I might say, in the future, I want to create my own English course. Or, I'd like to work with international students. It shows ambition and direction.
Yes, and it doesn't matter if the plan is big or small. Even something simple like, I want to improve my communication skills, or I want to get a promotion, is natural and meaningful.
Right. Learners can also say, I'm planning to, I'm hoping to, or my goal is to. These structures make your English sound confident and fluent.
Exactly. For example, I might say, I'm planning to expand my content to reach more international viewers. Or, my goal is to produce higher quality videos every year. Just like we're doing on Speak English Fluently, right, Anna?
Of course. And here's another useful phrase, I'm working towards. For example, I'm working towards becoming a senior manager, or I'm working towards starting my own business.
That's a great one. It shows progress. And learners should also know how to express why they want something. For example, I want to become a nurse because I love helping people. Or I want to start a business because I enjoy creating new ideas.
Exactly. And Adam, one thing that makes a career conversation sound very natural is mentioning challenges. Like, I want to improve my English, but I don't have enough time. Or I'd like to change my job, but I'm still looking for the right opportunity.
Yes, that makes a person sound honest and relatable. And they can also talk about long-term dreams, like, my dream is to travel for work. My dream is to lead a big team. Or, my dream is to work in another country.
Those phrases are very powerful, and they help learners express who they want to become, not just what they do now.
Exactly, Anna. And I think talking about future goals shows confidence and motivation, two things employers and friends always appreciate.
Totally agree, Adam. And when learners talk about their dreams, it adds emotion to the conversation, which makes their English sound more alive and natural.
Anna, I think real life stories make job conversations much more interesting. People love hearing personal experiences, even small ones.
Totally, Adam. For example, I remember my first week as an English teacher. I was so nervous that I kept repeating the same instructions. But the students were kind and they made me feel comfortable.
That's relatable. I had something similar when I started creating content. I recorded the same video at least 10 times because I wasn't happy with how I sounded. Now I laugh when I think about it.
Yes, we all start somewhere. And learners can say things like, one memorable moment from my job was when, or a funny thing happened at work once. These expressions make storytelling easier.
Right. For example, I could say, one memorable moment from my job was when a student sent me a message saying my videos helped him pass an interview. That message stayed with me for a long time.
That's wonderful, Adam. I had a similar moment. A student once told me that after practicing with our episodes, she gained enough confidence to speak with her foreign colleagues for the first time. That really touched me.
Those moments remind us why we do this. And learners can also share small challenges from their job, like, I had a difficult customer, or my project was delayed, or I made a mistake, but I learned from it. It makes conversations more real.
Exactly. And one phrase I use a lot when talking about challenges is, it was stressful at the time, but now it's a funny story. Because many stressful moments later become great memories.
So true, Anna. For example, once I almost uploaded a video with no sound. Imagine that. I had to check everything again at the last minute. It was stressful, but now I laugh about it.
Oh, that's a classic content creator problem. And learners can talk about teamwork too. They can say, I worked with a great team, I learned a lot from my colleagues, or we had a challenging project, but we did it together.
Yes, and teamwork stories always keep conversations alive. I often say I worked with a team that pushed me to grow, or my colleagues helped me improve my communication skills.
And Adam, learners should also know how to end a work story. They can say things like, so that's one of my favorite memories, or that experience taught me a lot. It gives the story a clean ending.
Exactly. It's all about sounding natural and confident. Anna, another important part of talking about your job is discussing challenges and work-life balance. People often ask things like, is your job stressful? Or how do you manage your time?
Right, and it's a very common topic in real conversations. For example, I might say, my job can be stressful during exam seasons, or sometimes I have a lot of lessons to prepare, so time management is important.
Exactly. And I often say things like, creating content takes a lot of time. Or editing videos late at night can be exhausting. But I also add something positive to balance it out. But I enjoy the process. Or, but the results make it worth it.
Yes, showing both sides, challenges and satisfaction, makes learners sound more natural. And another useful phrase is, I'm trying to find a better work-life balance. For example, I might say, I'm trying to find a better work-life balance by taking Sundays off.
That's a good one. I often try to say no to extra work so I can relax a bit. Learners can use simple phrases like, I try to relax after work. I spend time with my family. Or, I take short breaks to stay focused.
Exactly. And they can also talk about stress management. For example, I go for a walk when I feel stressed. I listen to music after a long day. Or I take short breaks to stay productive.
Right. And Anna, one more thing learners often forget is talking about support at work. For example, they can say, my manager supports me. My coworkers help me when I'm busy. Or, I have a friendly team that makes the job easier.
Yes, Adam. And even if someone doesn't like their job, they can still express it politely. My job can be challenging, but I'm grateful for the experience. Or, it's not my dream job, but I'm learning a lot.
That's a very professional way of saying it. And learners can also talk about improvements, such as, I'm trying to become more organized. I'm improving my communication skills. Or, I'm learning new tools to work faster.
Absolutely. And one final point, it's okay to be honest. For example, I sometimes feel tired, or I have busy weeks, as long as they balance it with something positive.
Right. Job conversations should sound real, just like we're doing here. If learners practice these expressions, they'll be able to talk about challenges and balance in a natural, confident way. Anna, I think we covered a lot today, from talking about your job basics to describing your work environment, sharing future goals, and even discussing challenges and work-life balance.
Absolutely, Adam. And I hope everyone listening learned new expressions they can use right away. Talking about your job is one of the most common topics in English, so mastering these phrases is really important.
Exactly. And remember, the more you practice these expressions, the more confident and natural you'll sound. Don't be afraid to talk about your job, your dreams, or your challenges. It's all part of improving your communication skills.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel Speak English Fluently for more real English conversations like this one.
Yes, and if you want us to cover another topic, just let us know in the comments. We're always happy to help you improve your English.
Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care and keep practicing your English every single day.